Mount Paozu, minutes before contact. Goku could feel them getting closer. 3 key signatures dropping through the atmosphere at speeds that would have been impossible for Earth technology, but were routine for Frieza Force scouts. They'd be visible in the sky within minutes, their armor reflecting sunlight, scouters scanning everything within range. This was it, the moment where careful planning met reality, and you found out if your preparations were worth anything. How do we handle this? Grandpa Gohan asked, and Goku appreciated that he didn't panic, didn't question, just accepted that space soldiers were coming and focused on tactical response. Depends on what they want. Goku's mind raced through possibilities. Best case, they scan the area, find nothing interesting because I suppress my power completely and leave. Worst case, they detect me anyway, report back to Frieza, and Earth becomes a target. What's the middle case? I talk to them, convince them I'm just an anomaly, a lone survivor with amnesia who crashed here years ago. No threat, no organization, nothing worth reporting. Can you lie convincingly enough for that? Goku thought about it. In his first life, lying had never been his strength. He'd been the guy who announced his battle plans to enemies because keeping secrets felt wrong. But that was adult Goku, who'd grown up naive and honest. This Goku had watched Planet Vegeta burn, had helped plan evacuations, had learned that sometimes survival required deception. I can try. Up on the moon, Salipa was in a combat ship with 15 Cell Alpha warriors, engines hot and ready to launch. Taro, what's the call? Taro stared at the tactical display showing 3 scouts converging on Mount Paozu. Every instinct screamed to launch now, eliminate the threat before it could report. But launching meant revealing their presence, meant confirming that Saiyans not only survived, but were organized and hiding on Earth. Hold position, he decided. We let Kakarot handle first contact. If it goes wrong, we have 60 seconds to intercept before they can transmit off-world. But we give him a chance to resolve this peacefully first. And if they don't believe his story, then we make sure they don't live long enough to report otherwise. The 3 scouts landed in Grandpa Gohan's yard with the casual arrogance of people who knew they were the most powerful things on any primitive world. Their armor was standard Frieza Force issue, white and purple, scouters integrated into the helmets, energy weapons holstered but easily accessible. Scout 1, who seemed to be the leader, looked around the simple mountain home with barely concealed disdain. Primitive architecture. No visible technology. Power level reading originated from this location, but I'm not seeing... His scouter beeped, tracking to Goku standing on the porch next to Grandpa Gohan. There, power level 8,900. Scout 1 approached slowly, hand drifting toward his weapon. You. What species are you? Goku made himself look young and confused. Not hard when you actually were a toddler, regardless of mental age. I don't really know. I crashed here a long time ago. Don't remember much before that. The scouts exchanged glances. Scout 2 was studying Goku's tail with sudden interest. That physical feature, enhanced musculature despite small frame, could he be? Saiyan, Scout 1 confirmed, his voice going cold. But that's impossible. Lord Frieza destroyed Planet Vegeta 2 years ago, confirmed total extinction. Apparently not total, Scout 3 said, raising his weapon. Lord Frieza will want to know about this. And there it was. The moment where everything could go wrong. Goku raised his hands in what he hoped looked like a peaceful gesture. Wait, please. I don't know anything about Planet Vegeta or Lord Frieza or any of that. I was just a baby when my pod crashed here. I don't even remember where I came from. Your power level says otherwise. 8,900 units at your age? That's advanced development. Someone's been training you. The old man teaches me martial arts, Goku gestured to Gohan. But that's just local stuff. I don't know anything about space or other planets or... Enough, Scout 1 interrupted. Whether you're lying or genuinely memory impaired doesn't matter. A surviving Saiyan is intelligence Lord Frieza needs to know about. You're coming with us. Grandpa Gohan stepped forward and Goku felt his power level spike from 280 to 320. Not nearly enough to matter against Frieza Force soldiers, but the old master was trying anyway. The boy isn't going anywhere with you. Scout 2 laughed. And you're going to stop us? Old man, your power level is 320. I could sneeze and accidentally kill you. Maybe. Gohan settled into a combat stance that showed decades of discipline. but I'll make enough noise dying that you'll have to explain why you were fighting primitives instead of completing your survey. Seems like the kind of thing that would complicate your report. It was a good bluff. Not good enough to work, but good enough to buy a few seconds while the scouts considered their options. Up on the moon, Taro was counting down. 45 seconds until their ship's automated transmission window. If they're going to report, it'll be then. Salipa, prepare to launch. Understood. Weapons hot. Back on Earth, Scout 1 was calculating. You could see it in his body language, weighing the value of capturing a random Saiyan child against the hassle of explaining why he deviated from a routine survey. He probably would have decided capturing Goku was worth it, except, Sir, Scout 3 interrupted, his scouter pinging frantically. Multiple high-power signatures just appeared in orbital position, reading between 4,000 and 7,000 units each. 15 distinct sources. Scout 1's face went pale. What? Show me. The scouter display projected holographically, showing Cell Alpha's combat ships in clear view. Not attacking, not approaching, just there, visible. A threat that didn't need to be spoken aloud. That's not possible, Scout 2 whispered. This is a primitive world. There shouldn't be any. They're not from this world, Scout 1 said quietly. Those energy signatures, the ship configurations, those are Saiyan vessels, modified, but still recognizable. The math was suddenly very different. 3 scouts, power levels around 1,500 each, versus 15 Saiyan warriors in the 4,000-7,000 range, backed by ship-mounted weapons. It wasn't even a fight, it was a massacre waiting to happen. We're leaving, Scout 1 decided. Now, immediate departure. But the Saiyan isn't worth dying over. Move. They took off so fast they left scorch marks on Gohan's yard, scrambling for their ship with the desperate speed of people who suddenly realized they were wildly outmatched. Within 90 seconds, they were breaking atmosphere. Within 3 minutes, they were engaging FTL drives and disappearing toward whatever Frieza Force outpost they'd come from. Goku stood in the yard, watching them flee, knowing this was both a victory and a disaster. Victory, they hadn't been captured or killed. The scouts had left Earth intact. Disaster, those scouts now knew Saiyans had survived. Organized Saiyans with ships and warriors and enough power to make Frieza Force think twice about casual capture attempts. The secret was out. Goku? Grandpa Gohan's voice was carefully controlled. Want to explain what just happened, because those were definitely not from Earth, and they definitely knew what you were. Yeah. Goku sat down heavily on the porch steps, feeling exhausted despite not having thrown a single punch. I can't explain, but you're not going to like it. Cell Alpha Command. 30 minutes later. They know. Taro stared at the tracking data showing the Frieza Force ship jumping to FTL. They know Saiyan survived, they know we're organized, and they know we're on Earth. Salipa slammed her fist into a console, cracking the display. We should have eliminated them. Now they're going to report, Frieza's going to investigate, and we've painted a target on Earth and every refugee we have. If we'd eliminated them, Frieza Force would have sent investigators when 3 scouts disappeared, Taro countered. Either way, we're exposed. At least this way Earth isn't a confirmed combat zone yet. Yet. That's a great comfort when Frieza shows up with a death squad. Taro pulled up communications with the other cells, broadcasting an emergency signal that would reach all 12 sanctuary worlds within hours. All cells, priority alert. Frieza Force has confirmed Saiyan survivors exist. They detected Cell Alpha on Earth. Status, exposed but not directly engaged. Recommend all cells increase security protocols immediately. Earth is now a known location. We need to assume Frieza will investigate within 6 months to 2 years. King Vegeta's hologram appeared first, his expression grim. What happened? Taro explained quickly. The scouts, the detection, the standoff, the retreat. King Vegeta listened without interrupting, his tactical mind clearly processing implications. Options, the king said when Taro finished. Option 1, we evacuate Earth completely. Abandon Cell Alpha, scatter those 183 Saiyans to other cells, leave Earth empty when Frieza investigates. Pros and cons. Pros, protects human population, removes Saiyan presence. Cons, loses our observation post, wastes 2 years of integration work, abandons Kakarot's strategic positioning. Option 2, we stay. Enhance defenses, Prepare for possible Frieza Force investigation. Use Earth as a deliberate trap. Let Frieza send investigators, eliminate them quietly, make it look like accidents or primitive world hazards. That's risky. If we fail to eliminate investigators cleanly, we're right back to confirming Saiyan presence. Option 3. Bardock's hologram joined the conference, his expression carrying that distant look that meant he was seeing multiple futures simultaneously. We accelerate Earth integration, make formal first contact with human authorities, explain the situation, recruit Earth fighters to defend their own world. If Frieza investigates and finds Earth defended not by Saiyans, but by empowered humans, it changes his calculations. You want to turn a primitive species into warriors strong enough to matter? Nappa's hologram appeared, skeptical. In less than 2 years? Kakarot's been training under an Earthmaster who has power level of 320, exceptional for humans. If we can identify others with potential and accelerate their training using Saiyan techniques. Bardock trailed off, clearly seeing timelines branch and recombine. I see futures where Earth's defenders surprise everyone, where humans achieve power levels in the thousands within years instead of decades. It's possible. It's insane, Salipa muttered. So was surviving planet Vegeta's destruction, King Vegeta said quietly. And we did that. Very well, we pursue all 3 options simultaneously. Cell Alpha maintains presence on Earth but reduces visible profile. Move deeper underground, literally and figuratively. Begin careful integration with select humans, warriors, scientists, people who can handle the truth, and prepare contingencies for evacuation if everything fails. He looked directly at Taro through the holographic connection. You have 18 months, maybe 2 years before Frieza sends serious investigators. Use that time to make Earth defensible, because once he comes, we're going to need every advantage we can create. Mount Paozu, evening. Goku sat on the porch with Grandpa Gohan, watching the sunset paint the mountains in colors that reminded him painfully of planet Vegeta's last dawn. The old master hadn't said much since Goku finished explaining everything, and by everything, he'd meant everything this time. The evacuation, the 3,847 survivors, the 12 scattered cells, Cell Alpha on the moon, the approaching threat of Frieza Force investigation, all of it. So, Gohan said finally, you're not just an alien refugee, you're the advanced scout for a civilization of warrior refugees hiding on our moon, and you've been training with me specifically to learn how to blend Saiyan power with human philosophy. Yes. And now space tyrants might come to Earth looking for you and your people. Yes. Within 2 years. Probably. Gohan was quiet for another long moment. Then he started laughing. Not hysterical laughter, but the kind of laugh that came from realizing the universe was even stranger than you'd imagined. I'm 83 years old, he said when the laughter faded. I've trained under Master Roshi, fought in tournaments, lived through wars and disasters and personal tragedies. I thought I'd seen everything life could throw at me, and then an alien toddler crashes into my world and tells me space tyrants are coming. I'm sorry, Goku said quietly. I know this is a lot. Don't apologize. This is... Gohan paused, searching for words. This is important. Maybe the most important thing I'll ever be part of. Earth has no idea what's coming. No concept that there are civilizations in space that could destroy our entire planet casually. If you hadn't come here, if your people hadn't warned us, we'd be completely unprepared when that threat arrived. He stood, settling into a ready stance. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to train harder. We're going to contact people I trust. Master Roshi, some of his other students, warriors and martial artists who might be able to handle this truth. And we're going to prepare Earth to defend itself. You believe me? Just like that? Goku, I watched space soldiers land in my yard and flee when more space soldiers showed up to defend you. That's pretty convincing evidence. Gohan smiled. Besides, I've spent 2 years watching you move like someone who's fought gods. I suspected you were carrying secrets bigger than just being an alien refugee. Now I know what they are. So we're preparing for war. We're preparing to survive. There's a difference. Gohan's expression was serious. You said your people learned that power without purpose is just destruction. That the brightest futures are the ones where Saiyans learn compassion alongside strength. Well, Earth's about to learn that strength without awareness is vulnerability. Time to wake up the planet. West City, 3 days later. Dr. Brief was many things: a genius inventor, founder of Capsule Corporation, loving father to a daughter who might be even smarter than he was. But prepared for aliens wasn't on his list of accomplishments. At least not until Grandpa Gohan appeared in his office with a 3-year-old child who could create glowing energy spheres and a story that sounded completely insane but was backed by enough evidence that Dr. Brief couldn't dismiss it. Let me make sure I understand this correctly. Dr. Brief said, adjusting his glasses for the third time in 5 minutes. You're telling me that aliens exist. They destroyed their own planet 2 years ago. Approximately 3,800 of them survived and scattered across the galaxy. And roughly 183 are currently hiding on our moon? That's accurate, Gohan confirmed. And this child, Goku, is one of them, specifically positioned on Earth to learn our martial arts philosophy and prepare for eventual integration. Also accurate. And space tyrants who destroyed the alien planet might come to Earth within 2 years looking for survivors, at which point we'll need to defend ourselves against technology and power we can barely comprehend. Unfortunately accurate. Dr. Brief stared at Goku, who waved awkwardly. Hi, sorry about the whole bringing galactic war to your planet thing. We're trying to minimize that. Well? Dr. Brief set down his coffee cup very carefully. I suppose I should start designing weapons then. Do these space tyrants have any particular vulnerabilities I should know about? Goku blinked. He'd expected panic, disbelief, demands for proof, not immediate pivot to tactical planning. You believe us? Son, I've spent 40 years inventing impossible things and being told they couldn't work. I invented miniaturization technology that fits entire vehicles into capsules the size of my thumb. If impossible things can exist, why not aliens? Dr. Brief pulled up holographic displays, already sketching weapon designs. Now, you mentioned these soldiers had power levels around 1,500 and fled when confronted with multiple fighters in the 4,000 to 7,000 range. That suggests energy-based combat with quantifiable power measurements. Can you explain how that works? And just like that, they were in a technical discussion about key manipulation, energy output measurements, and how Earth science might interface with Saiyan combat techniques. Dr. Brief took notes like he was attending a fascinating lecture, rather than learning his planet was in danger. Bulma burst into the office halfway through, clearly annoyed at being excluded. Daddy, why didn't you tell me Goku was here? We were supposed to. She stopped, processing the holographic displays of energy weapons and alien ship configurations. What's going on? Aliens exist. Roughly 183 are hiding on our moon, and we might need to defend Earth from space tyrants within 2 years, Dr. Brief said casually. Want to help design weapons? Bulma stared at her father, then at Goku, then at the holograms. Awesome! She grabbed a tablet and started sketching her own designs. I've got so many questions. First, can we visit the moon base? Second, what's the power-to-weight ratio on Saiyan pod engines? Third, are there other alien species or just Saiyans? Fourth, Goku felt something release in his chest. This was Earth. This was why his first life here had mattered so much. Humans who, when told space tyrants were coming, didn't panic or despair. They started building weapons and asking questions about engine specifications. We should contact Master Roshi, Gohan said, and probably Corin. If we're assembling Earth defenders, we need the best martial artists the planet has. Who's Corin? Goku asked. Ancient master who lives in a tower so tall it takes days to climb. Legend says he's got training methods that can multiply a warrior's power in weeks instead of years. I trained under him for a while in my youth, but I never completed his full program. Gohan smiled. If we're preparing Earth for war, we're going to need every advantage we can find. Cell Gamma, Planet Sadala 2, same time frame. Prince Vegeta moved through combat forms in the 15 Dykes gravity chamber, but something had changed. He wasn't training with that mechanical self-destructive obsession anymore. His movements carried purpose now, focus, the kind of determination from having a goal beyond just get stronger. King Vegeta watched from the observation deck and felt relief so profound it was almost painful. He's different, Nappa observed. After your talk with him 3 days ago. Calmer, more focused. We had a good conversation, a necessary one. Now, King Vegeta didn't elaborate. What happened between a father and son in their worst moments wasn't for public discussion. He's still training intensively, but now there's sustainability to it. Rest periods, proper nutrition, listening to his body instead of just pushing through damage. And his Super Saiyan attempts? Fewer, but more controlled. He's building the foundation properly instead of trying to force the transformation through desperation. King Vegeta pulled up Vegeta's power progression chart. Power level has grown from 42,000 to 48,000 in 3 days. That's exceptional progress achieved through smart training rather than self-destruction. Think he'll achieve it? Super Saiyan? Eventually. He's got the potential, the drive, and now the methodology. Give him another year, maybe 2. King Vegeta's expression was complicated, pride and fear mixed together. But I don't want him to need the same catalyst Solara did. Watching someone die, experiencing that level of loss, I'd rather he achieve it through mastery than through trauma. Might not be a choice we get to make. Frieza Force knows survivors exist now. When they come hunting, trauma might be inevitable. Then we prepare him to be strong enough that he doesn't break when it happens. That's all any father can do. Down in the gravity chamber, Prince Vegeta completed his final set and powered down the gravity generators. His body was exhausted but not damaged, pushed but not broken. He looked up at the observation deck where his father watched, and for the first time in 2 years, he smiled. Small smile. Barely there, but genuine. King Vegeta smiled back. Cell Beta, Planet Suno 2. Bardock's precognitive vision was showing him something that made no sense. Multiple futures were converging on a single point, a decision that would be made approximately 18 months from now that would determine everything that followed. In some timelines, Earth became a fortress. Humans and Saiyans training together, building defenses, creating a coalition strong enough that when Frieza sent investigators, they were repelled. Those futures were bright but fragile, dependent on perfect execution and a dozen variables aligning correctly. In other timelines, Earth fell. Frieza's forces overwhelmed the scattered defenders, killed most of Cell Alpha, and turned Earth into an example of what happened to planets that harbored Saiyan refugees. Those futures were dark and ended with scattered survivors fleeing once again. But there was a third branch. Smaller than the others, harder to see, but possible. In those timelines, something unexpected happened. A catalyst that changed all the calculations. Someone achieved a transformation that shouldn't be possible yet, or discovered a technique that broke conventional power scaling, or made an alliance that brought new forces into play. Those futures were the brightest he could see. Also the most uncertain. What do you see? Gine asked, sensing his concentration. Choice point. 18 months from now, maybe less. Something happens on Earth that forces us to decide what we really are. Warriors? Refugees? Protectors? The decision we make determines whether we survive the next decade or get hunted to extinction. Can you see what the catalyst is? What forces the choice? No, too many variables. But I see Kakarot at the center of it, and humans, and something about Earth itself. There's a power there we don't understand yet, something old and patient and waiting. Earth's Dragon Balls, Gina said quietly. They exist in this timeline too, don't they? Like they did on Namek. Bardock's eyes widened. He'd been so focused on key signatures and combat power that he hadn't considered mystical artifacts. But Gine was right. If Namek had Dragon Balls that could grant wishes, and Earth was somehow connected to Namek through ancient migration, then Earth might have them too. If Earth has wish-granting artifacts and Frieza learns about it, he'd come for them regardless of whether Saiyans were there or not. Gine's voice was grim. Which means Earth is already a target. We're just accelerating the timeline, or giving Earth a chance to defend itself before Frieza comes for other reasons. Bardock looked toward where Earth would be, light years away but not impossibly distant, through FTL. Kakarot was right. Earth matters. We just didn't understand why yet. Mount Paozu, 1 week after Scout encounter, Goku stood in the yard watching the sunset and thinking about timelines. In his first life, Earth had been relatively peaceful for years before Saiyans arrived searching for Kakarot. Piccolo had been the first major threat, then his brother Raditz showing up created the Saiyan invasion, then everything spiraled from there. But this timeline was already wildly different. Frieza Force knew survivors existed. Earth was aware of aliens. Cell Alpha was preparing the planet for war. And they had maybe 18 months before serious threats arrived instead of the comfortable years his first life had enjoyed. Everything was compressed, accelerated. The threats were coming faster, but Earth had more warning. Was that better or worse? Goku? Bulma's voice interrupted his thoughts. She'd started visiting almost daily since learning about the alien situation, fascinated by the technology and science behind key manipulation. I've been thinking about your energy attacks, the Kamehameha that Grandpa Gohan taught you. What about it? You said it takes years for most people to master, but you learned it in 6 months because you had perfect ki control from your previous life. What if we could teach that control to other people faster? Use technology to help them perceive and manipulate their own energy? Goku blinked. In his first life, ki training had been entirely manual. Meditation, physical conditioning, master-to-student instruction over years or decades. But combining Earth's technology with Saiyan training methods? You mean like training equipment that visualizes ki flows? Helps people see what they're doing? Exactly. Bulma pulled up sketches on her tablet, and these were genuinely impressive for a 4-year-old showing understanding of concepts that shouldn't be possible. Daddy and I have been working on it. Scouters that measure power levels are one thing, but what if we made devices that showed you how to improve your power level? Real-time feedback on technique efficiency, energy circulation, optimization of movement? Goku thought about it. In his first life, fighters had developed through brutal trial and error. But with technological assistance helping them understand what they were doing, that could accelerate Earth's defenders by years, decades even. That's what I thought. Bulma was practically bouncing with excitement. And if we combine it with gravity training, like your people use, and maybe some of that hyperbolic time chamber thing you mentioned, we could turn regular humans into warriors strong enough to matter in like 5 years instead of 50. Wait, I mentioned the hyperbolic time chamber? Last week, you said something about training where time moved differently. I've been trying to figure out if that's even physically possible or if it's some kind of mystical thing. Goku made a mental note to be more careful about which future knowledge he casually mentioned around the 4-year-old super genius. But she wasn't wrong about the potential. Earth had resources his first life had never fully utilized because nobody knew they were preparing for galactic threats. This time they knew, and they had time to prepare. Not much time, but some. Show me these designs, Goku said. Let's see if we can make them work. As Bulma launched into technical explanations that were somehow both childish and brilliant, Goku felt something he hadn't felt since Planet Vegeta's destruction. Hope. Not certainty. Not guarantee of success. Just the possibility that maybe, somehow, they could build something strong enough to survive what was coming. That would have to be enough. 6 months after Scout Encounter, Goku stood at the base of Corin Tower and craned his neck back, trying to see the top. He couldn't. The tower just kept going up and up until it disappeared into clouds so high they might as well have been in space. His 4-year-old body protested the very idea of climbing that far. But his warrior's mind knew what waited at the top. Corin, the immortal cat who'd trained some of Earth's greatest fighters. Senzu beans that could heal any injury instantly. Training methods that could multiply someone's strength in days instead of years. And most importantly, for right now, someone who might actually know where Earth's Dragon Balls were. You sure about this? Grandpa Gohan asked. The old master had made the journey himself decades ago and knew exactly how brutal the climb was. You're 4 years old, Goku. Your body isn't ready for this kind of endurance challenge. My body's never going to be ready for anything if I keep waiting for it to catch up to my mind, Goku replied. He'd had this argument with himself 1,000 times over the past 2 years, always feeling trapped in a toddler's frame while knowing what he should be capable of. Besides, we need information. If Earth really has Dragon Balls like Namek does, we need to find them before Frieza's investigators do. And you think this Corin will just tell you? I think he'll test me. Probably make me do something impossible first. But yeah, eventually he'll help. He's one of the good guys. Goku paused. At least he was in my other life, assuming he exists the same way here. That was always the uncertainty now. How much of his first life's Earth matched this timeline? Corin Tower was here, exactly where he remembered it. But did that mean Corin himself existed? Did it mean the Dragon Balls were real and not just Namekian legend? Did it mean Kami was watching from even higher up and Mr. Popo and the whole mystical infrastructure that had supported Earth's defenders? Only one way to find out. "I'm climbing," Goku announced, and started up before Gohan could argue further. And it's the thing about Corin Tower that nobody really appreciates until they're actually doing it. It's not just tall, it's sadistically tall. The stones are smooth enough that you can't rest properly. The wind picks up after the first hour and tries to peel you off like old paint. And there's something about the tower itself that makes your ki feel sluggish, like you're fighting through invisible resistance. Goku's power level was 12,000 now after 6 months of intensive training with Earth's best martial artists. He could have flown up the tower in minutes if he wanted, but that would miss the point. Corin Tower wasn't about power. It was about persistence, endurance, proving you had the dedication to keep climbing even when everything hurt and your body screamed for rest. So he climbed, one handhold at a time, one foot above the other. Hours blending together until his muscles burned and his small hands bled, and he'd long since lost track of how far he'd come or how far remained. And he thought about timelines. In his first life, he'd climbed this tower as a teenager, chasing after mercenary Tao who'd killed his friend and beaten him bloody. He'd been desperate then, driven by grief and rage and the need to become strong enough to avenge someone who'd mattered. Now he was climbing as a 4-year-old, driven by strategic necessity and the weight of 3,847 Saiyan survivors who needed Earth to be defensible when Frieza's forces came. Different motivation, same tower. Would the result be the same? He climbed through sunset, through night, through dawn. His 4-year-old body protesting every movement, but his adult will refusing to acknowledge pain as anything but information to be processed and ignored. And finally, after what felt like 3 lifetimes compressed into one endless vertical hell, he reached the top. The platform at Corin Tower's peak was exactly as he remembered. Simple wooden construction, open to the sky, with a small shrine-like building in the center. And sitting in front of that building, casually licking his paw like he hadn't been waiting for someone to climb an impossible tower, was Corin. White cat, walking staff, eyes that looked ancient and amused in equal measure. "Well, well," Corin said, his voice carrying that same tone Goku remembered, playful but with steel underneath. "Haven't had a climber in, 3 years and never one so young. What's your name, kid?" Goku stood on shaking legs, every muscle screaming, and managed something between a bow and a collapse. "Goku, Son Goku, I need your help. Most people who climb my tower need help. Usually help me get stronger, or help me learn secret techniques, or help me, I made a bet I could do this and now I'm too proud to admit I can't." Corin studied him with those knowing eyes. "What kind of help are you after?" "Information. About Earth's Dragon Balls. Where they are, how they work, who guards them." Corin's expression shifted, still amused, but sharper now. "That's an interesting request from a 4-year-old who just climbed a tower that should have killed him. Why do you want to know about the Dragon Balls?" "Because in about 12 months, maybe less, people are going to come to Earth looking for them. Bad people. The kind who destroy planets casually. And if they find the Dragon Balls before we do, before we can hide or protect them..." Goku trailed off. The implications spoke for themselves. "And how," Corin asked carefully, "does a 4-year-old know about planet-destroying threat Dragon Ball Seekers?" So Goku told him. Not everything, that would take days, but enough. The Saiyan race, the genocide, the 3,847 survivors, Cell Alpha on the moon, Frieza Force scouts detecting them, the 18-month countdown until serious investigation, and his own weird situation. Memories of a life that technically hadn't happened yet, knowledge of futures that might be, the weight of trying to save 2 civilizations, Saiyan and human, from threats they didn't know existed. Corin listened without interrupting, his expression unreadable. When Goku finished, the cat was quiet for a long moment. "That's quite a story. I know it sounds insane. Oh, it's completely insane. Also happens to be true." Corin stood, stretching in that way cats do that suggests they're not remotely concerned about anything. I can feel it on you, kid. Time displacement, destiny unraveling and reweaving itself. You're not supposed to exist, but here you are anyway. He prowled around Goku in a circle, studying him from different angles. The Dragon Balls do exist, 7 of them, scattered across Earth. Gather all 7, speak the words, and the eternal dragon Shenron appears to grant 1 wish. 2 if he's feeling generous, and the wishes aren't too complicated. Who guards them? Complicated question. The Dragon Balls were created by Earth's guardian, who lives even higher than this tower, but they're not locked away or protected. They're meant to be found by those pure of heart who need them. So they scatter themselves randomly across the planet, and people stumble across them thinking they're just magic orbs. That seems like terrible security. The Dragon Balls judge the person who gathers them. If your heart is evil, if your intentions are dark, the wish gets twisted, interpreted in ways that usually backfire spectacularly. It's built-in protection. Corin's eyes narrowed. But if someone with planet-destroying power doesn't care about consequences and just wants something straightforward like eternal life or unlimited power, yeah, the Dragon Balls would grant that. And that would be bad. So we need to find them first. Hide them. Or, Goku thought about it. Could we use them? Make a wish that would help Earth defend itself? What kind of wish? I don't know. Strength for Earth's defenders? A barrier that prevents planet destruction? Information about Frieza's weaknesses? The possibilities were overwhelming. What are the limits? Can't bring back someone who's been dead more than a year. Can't kill someone who's significantly stronger than the dragon itself. Shenron's powerful, but he's not god tier. Can't force someone to fall in love or change their fundamental nature. Beyond that, Corin shrugged. Pretty much anything goes, but you only get 1 wish, maybe 2. Choose carefully. Goku's mind raced through possibilities. 1 wish could change everything, but which wish would matter most? Strength, knowledge, protection? Before you start planning your wish, Corin interrupted his thoughts. You should know that gathering the Dragon Balls isn't easy, even with a radar to track them. They're designed to test the seeker, make them travel, face challenges, prove they're worthy. Could take months. We don't have months to spare. Then you'd better start now. Corin reached behind himself and produced a small bag. Senzu beans. Eat 1 and it heals any injury, restores stamina completely, fills your stomach for 10 days. I'm giving you 5. Use them wisely. They take 6 months to grow and I only have so many plants. Goku accepted the bag reverently. Senzu beans. He'd forgotten how valuable these things were. In his first life, he'd treated them almost casually because Corin always seemed to have more. But if there was limited supply, thank you. Is there anything I can do to repay? Yeah, succeed. Corin's voice was serious now, stripped of playfulness. I've been watching Earth for 800 years. Kid, seen civilizations rise and fall, seen heroes and villains come and go, but I've never seen someone like you, carrying the weight of 2 timelines, trying to save 2 races simultaneously, rebuilding destiny from the ground up. He looked toward the sky, toward space, where threats were gathering. Earth's been isolated for so long, safe because we're remote and primitive and not worth anyone's attention. But that's ending, isn't it? The galaxy is coming here one way or another, and when it arrives, we'd better be ready. We will be. I'll make sure of it. Good. Now get down from my tower and start finding those Dragon Balls. Oh, and Goku? Yes? The Guardian wants to meet you. When you're ready, come back here and I'll show you how to reach him. He's going to want to understand what you are and what you're trying to do. Does the name Kami mean anything? Corin's eyes widened fractionally. Yeah, that's what we call him. How did you... Right, future memories. Okay, less surprising than it should be. Yes, Kami is the Guardian. And yes, he already knows you're here. Probably been watching you since you landed on Earth. Great, being watched by Earth's God Guardian. That wasn't unsettling at all. I'll come back when I've found the Dragon Balls, Goku promised. And Corin, thank you for believing me, for helping. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when you've actually saved the world. Climbing down was somehow worse than climbing up. Goku's muscles were already exhausted, his hands already raw, and going down meant fighting gravity in a different way that was just as brutal. But he had Senzu beans now, and information about the Dragon Balls, and confirmation that Earth's mystical infrastructure existed in this timeline, just like his first life. That was progress. He ate one senzu bean halfway down, partly because he needed it, partly to test if they really worked the same way. They did. Instantly, his exhaustion vanished, his injuries healed, and he felt like he could climb another 3 towers back to back, definitely saving the other 4 for emergencies. When he finally reached the base, Grandpa Gohan was waiting with Bulma, who'd apparently shown up while he was climbing because, of course, she had. The girl had an instinct for being wherever interesting things were happening. "You made it." Bulma rushed over, tablet already out, and scanning him. "Your power level spiked for a moment. Did you achieve some kind of breakthrough? Also, your vital signs look impossibly healthy for someone who just climbed for 18 hours straight. What happened up there?" "Met Corin. Got information about Dragon Balls. Ate a magic bean that heals everything." Goku pulled out the remaining 4 senzu beans. "Also got these. Emergency healing items. Each one is incredibly valuable, so we need to be strategic about when we use them." "Magic beans?" Bulma was already trying to scan one. "The energy signature is bizarre. It's like compressed life force or something. Can I study one?" "No, we only have 4 left, and we're gonna need them." Goku turned to Gohan. "The Dragon Balls exist. 7 magic orbs scattered across Earth that can grant wishes. We need to find them before Frieza's investigators do." How long do we have?" 12 months, maybe less. And gathering them won't be easy. They're designed to test seekers, make them prove themselves worthy. Then we'd better start." Gohan's expression was determined. "Bulma, can your father create a device to track these Dragon Balls? If they emit energy like you said, there should be a way to detect them." "Daddy can build anything." Bulma was already sketching designs. "If I explain what we're looking for, he'll have a prototype within a week. 2 weeks for a refined version. A month for something reliable enough to—" "We don't have a month for reliability," Goku interrupted. "We need something functional in a week, even if it's imperfect. We'll work out the bugs while we're searching." "That's going to mean field testing an unstable prototype while hunting for magic orbs across an entire planet," Bulma pointed out. "That's incredibly dangerous and stupid." "Yep. Okay, I'm in," she grinned. "This is going to be way more fun than normal research projects." Cell Alpha Command, Earth's moon. Taro watched the surveillance feeds showing Goku's descent from Corin Tower with scientific interest. The power level spike when he'd consumed the senzu bean had been remarkable. Not just healing, but complete restoration to peak condition. If Earth had access to such items, and they could be replicated. He made contact with Earth's Guardian Network, Salipa observed. Corin confirmed the Dragon Balls exist and probably told him about Kami. We should prepare for Goku to ascend even higher. Agreed, but let him handle it at his own pace. Forcing contact with Earth's mystical authorities could backfire. Taro pulled up broader strategic displays. More concerning is the timeline, 12 months until serious Frieza Force investigation. We're making progress, but it's not enough. He highlighted various projects in development. Earth's defenders training under Saiyan methods, power levels increasing but slowly. Strongest human currently at 420, Master Roshi, with rapid improvement possible but not guaranteed. Technology integration. Dr. Brief's inventions accelerating training but untested in actual combat scenarios. Cell Alpha fortification. Moon-based defenses enhanced, but ultimately couldn't withstand serious Frieza Force assault. Evacuation contingencies. Ships ready to scatter if Earth became untenable, but losing Cell Alpha would be a major strategic blow. "We're not going to be ready," Salipa said bluntly. "Even with Dragon Ball wishes, even with accelerated training, we're not going to have enough power to face Frieza Force investigators if they send anyone serious. Then we need to change the equation. Make it not about power." Taro pulled up alternative strategies. What if we don't fight the investigators directly? What if we make Earth look worthless? Hide all evidence of advanced technology, suppress power levels, make it seem like the scouts' reports were wrong. Deception over confrontation? We're refugees, not warriors. We survive by being clever, not strong, at least not yet. Cell Gamma, planet Sadala II. Prince Vegeta stood in the gravity chamber, but he wasn't training. Just standing there, feeling the 20x gravity pressing on him, breathing steadily, centered in a way he'd never been before his father's intervention. His power level had grown to 65,000, impressive for a 10-year-old, exceptional by any Saiyan standard, but still nowhere near what he needed to achieve Super Saiyan, let alone challenge Frieza. But he'd learned something important over the past 6 months. Strength wasn't just about power level. Celera had proven that. She'd achieved Super Saiyan with a base of only 4,900, multiplying to 245,000 through transformation. The transformation was the key, not the base power, which meant he needed to focus on creating the conditions for transformation rather than just grinding power level numbers higher. "You're thinking too hard," his father's voice came from the observation deck. "I can see it in your posture. What's troubling you? Math?" Vegeta replied, "Even if I achieve Super Saiyan tomorrow, even if I multiply my power by 50, that's 3.25 million. Frieza's final form is 120 million. The gap is still insurmountable. Alone, yes. Alone?" King Vegeta descended into the gravity chamber. "You're thinking like a lone warrior. Like achieving Super Saiyan is something you do alone to prove individual strength. But what if it's not? What if the real power of Super Saiyan is that multiple warriors can achieve it?" Vegeta stared at his father. "You mean, if 5 Saiyans achieve Super Saiyan transformation, each one at 50x base power, fighting as a coordinated unit, that changes the mathematics considerably." King Vegeta pulled up power calculations. Cell Gamma has 612 warriors. If even 5% achieve Super Saiyan, that's 30 warriors working together. We could match Frieza. Vegeta's voice was quiet, processing this new framework. Not individually, but as a force. Exactly. So stop thinking about becoming the strongest warrior. Start thinking about becoming the best teammate. Learn to fight cooperatively. Trust other warriors to cover your weaknesses. Build the foundation for coordinated Super Saiyan combat. It went against everything Saiyan culture had taught him: individual strength, personal glory, proving you were the strongest through solo combat. But Saiyan culture had also gotten their planet destroyed. "When do we start?" Vegeta asked. "Now." King Vegeta gestured to the training arena where other warriors were gathering. "Team combat exercises. You'll lead a squad of 5 warriors with power levels similar to yours. Learn to fight as a unit. Learn that victory through cooperation isn't weakness." West City, Dr. Brief's laboratory. "This is impossible," Dr. Brief muttered, adjusting the prototype Dragon radar for the 47th time. "The energy signature I'm tracking is barely perceptible. It's like trying to detect a candle from orbit, and there are supposedly 7 of these scattered randomly across the planet. Can you make it work?" Bulma asked, helping with the calculations despite being 4 years old because apparently genius ran deep in the Brief family. "I can make anything work. Question is whether I can make it work in a week." He pulled up global energy scans. The Dragon Balls emit a unique frequency that's almost mystical. Not quite electromagnetic, not quite gravitational. It's like they exist slightly outside normal physics. "So we need a detector that scans for things that shouldn't be possible to detect?" "Exactly. Your grandfather would have loved this project." Dr. Brief smiled at his daughter. "Okay, here's the plan. I build a prototype that can detect Dragon Ball energy within a 50-kilometer radius. We mount it on a hover car, and you and Goku fly around systematically scanning the planet until you found all 7. That's going to take months. Then you'd better be efficient about flight patterns." He activated the prototype, and immediately it started beeping. "Wait, that's a Dragon Ball. Right here in West City, the radar's detecting one nearby." Goku leaned over the display. "Where?" "According to this, approximately 8 kilometers northwest. In the..." Dr. Brief checked city maps. "In the old Imperial Palace ruins, that area's been abandoned for decades. Then, that's where we start." Goku stood, already heading for the door. "Come on, Bulma, let's go find our first Dragon Ball." "I'm 4 years old and you want me to go Dragon Ball hunting in abandoned ruins? You got a better idea?" "Actually, no, this sounds awesome. Let's go." The Imperial Palace ruins were exactly as creepy as abandoned palaces should be. Crumbling stone, overgrown vegetation, ominous shadows that probably didn't contain anything dangerous, but sure looked like they did. Bulma's prototype radar was beeping steadily, guiding them deeper into the ruins toward a central courtyard where something glinted in the afternoon sun. "There!" Bulma pointed. Sitting in the middle of the courtyard, just resting on cracked stone like it was the most natural thing in the world, was a perfect orange sphere about the size of a baseball. And inside it, clearly visible, were 5 stars arranged in a distinctive pattern. The 5-star Dragon Ball. Goku approached carefully, half expecting something to happen, a trap, a guardian, some kind of test, but nothing. The Dragon Ball just sat there, radiating that unique energy that felt both ancient and patient. He picked it up. It was warm to the touch, and the moment his fingers wrapped around it, he felt something. Like the Dragon Ball was assessing him, judging whether he was worthy, his intentions, his heart, whether he deserved to wield wishes. Then the moment passed, and it was just a sphere in his hand. 1 down, Goku said. 6 to go, and we have 12 months to find them all before Frieza's investigators arrive. Then we'd better start searching. Bulma was already plotting flight patterns on her tablet. If we systematically scan in a grid pattern, prioritizing areas where mystical artifacts might naturally settle. As they headed back to the hover car, Goku looked at the 5-star Dragon Ball in his hand and thought about wishes. About what one perfect wish might accomplish. About whether it was better to wish for strength, knowledge, protection, or something else entirely. In his first life, he'd never really thought strategically about Dragon Ball wishes. Usually they were used to revive people who died in battle, quick fixes for immediate problems, but now, with advance warning of threats, with time to plan, one wish could change everything. He just had to figure out what that wish should be. 3 months into Dragon Ball Hunt, West City outskirts. You know what nobody tells you about hunting for magic wish-granting orbs? It's boring, like incredibly, mind-numbingly boring, punctuated by brief moments of excitement and danger. Goku and Bulma had been crisscrossing the planet for 3 months now, following the Dragon radars beeping and scanning every likely location within 50 kilometers. They'd found 2 more Dragon Balls, the 3-star in a mountain cave guarded by an angry bear that Goku had to politely relocate, and the 6-star at the bottom of a lake that required Bulma to invent diving equipment on the spot. 3 down, 4 to go. 9 months until Frieza Force investigation. The math was tight, but doable. Except the remaining Dragon Balls were being difficult. One was moving, someone had it and was traveling, making it hard to pin down. 2 others were in locations that made no sense, one reading from the middle of the ocean, another from what should have been solid mountain. I don't understand this reading, Bulma muttered, tapping the radar. They were hovering over a dense forest, the radar insisting a Dragon Ball was directly below them, but scans showing nothing. It's like the signal is there, but also not there. Phasing in and out. Could someone be hiding it? Using technology or key to mask the signature? Maybe. Or it's underground, or in another dimension, or... Oh no. Bulma's face went pale. Goku, what if one of the Dragon Balls is in the stomach of an animal? The reading would move with the animal, and the signal would be dampened by biological matter. That's disgusting and also probably exactly what happened, Goku sighed. Okay, new plan. We track this moving signal, figure out what ate it, and convince the animal to give it back. How do you convince an animal to give back something it swallowed? Very carefully. They'd been doing this for 3 months now, and honestly, it was kind of fun. Frustrating, yes. Urgent, absolutely. But also fun in a way that Goku's first life had never quite captured, because in his first life, he'd been a naive 12-year-old stumbling into adventure. Now he was a 4-year-old with adult awareness, deliberately engineering that adventure with a 4-year-old genius inventor as his partner who kept coming up with solutions to problems that shouldn't have solutions. Like right now. Bulma was already designing a device that could remotely induce vomiting in animals from a safe distance. That seems unethical, Goku observed. So is letting space tyrants destroy Earth because we couldn't get a Dragon Ball out of a dinosaur's stomach. Pick your ethics. Fair point. But while they were hunting Dragon Balls, other things were happening, because the galaxy doesn't pause just because you're busy with your own problems. Frieza Force Outpost Gamma 9, same time frame. Commander Kui stood in the communications center, reviewing reports with growing concern. 3 months ago, 3 scouts had returned from a routine survey of a primitive world called Earth with a story that should have been impossible. Saiyans. Multiple Saiyans. organized, armed with ships and warriors. Lord Frieza had been interested, not concerned exactly. Frieza never showed concern, but interested in a way that meant people were going to die, and Kui really hoped it wouldn't be him. Analysis complete, the intelligence officer reported. Cross-referencing energy signatures from the Earth survey with known Saiyan profiles. We have a match. The ship's detected match modified planet Vegeta evacuation vessel designs. The energy signatures are consistent with Saiyan key patterns. So they did survive. Kui felt his stomach drop. Lord Frieza had been so sure the genocide was complete. Finding out he'd missed survivors would make the tyrant displeased. How many? Based on ship configurations and detected signatures, estimated 150 to 200 individuals at the Earth location. Unknown how many more are scattered elsewhere. Recommendation? Send an investigation team. Class B threat assessment. Power levels detected ranged from 4,000 to 7,000, significant but manageable with proper force deployment. Kui made the decision that would change everything. Assemble a strike team. 20 soldiers, power levels 3,000 minimum. Commander Zarbon to lead. Mission: investigate Earth, confirm Saiyan presence, eliminate survivors if possible, capture one for interrogation if tactical situation allows. He sent the order and tried not to think about what would happen if this went wrong. Cell Alpha Command, 6 months until investigation. The alert came at 300 hours local time, screaming through every communication channel Cell Alpha had. Incoming transmission from Cell Delta. Priority maximum, Frieza Force activity detected. Taro was at the command center within 90 seconds, Salipa right behind him. They pulled up the transmission and felt their blood freeze. Nappa's face appeared holographically, his expression grim. Strike team departed Frieza Force Outpost Gamma 9 approximately 6 hours ago. 20 soldiers, led by Commander Zarbon. Estimated power levels? Soldiers at 3,000 to 4,000, Zarbon at 23,000. Destination Earth, ETA, 4 days. 4 days, not 12 months. 10 minutes later, Roshi was staring at holographic displays showing Frieza Force ship configurations, power level readouts, and tactical projections that painted a very clear picture. Space soldiers were coming to Earth in 3 days, and unless Earth's defenders worked together, everyone was going to die. So let me make sure I understand, Roshi said slowly. Aliens destroyed their planet 2 years ago. Roughly 4,000 survived and scattered across the galaxy. About 180 are hiding on our moon, and now space tyrants are sending a hit squad to investigate? That's accurate, Salipa confirmed. And you want me to help fight them? We need Earth's strongest fighters to make a unified stand. Show Frieza Force that Earth is defended, dangerous, not worth the trouble. Goku leaned forward. Master Roshi, I know about your true power level. I know you've been suppressing it for decades, pretending to be a dirty old man to avoid attention. But we need the warrior underneath. We need the Master Roshi who trained under Mutaito and fought King Piccolo. Roshi was very still. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. King Piccolo, the demon who nearly destroyed the world before Mutaito sealed him away. He's going to break free eventually. In this timeline or another, Piccolo's reincarnation is coming. But before that, we have this threat. And I need to know if you'll fight with us. Roshi studied the 4-year-old who talked like a general planning war. Then he stood, and suddenly the lecherous old hermit was gone. In his place stood something else, a warrior who'd survived centuries, trained generations of fighters, and chosen peace because he'd seen enough war to last lifetimes. My power level is 380 suppressed, Roshi said. 850 at full power, higher if I use techniques I haven't practiced in decades. Against soldiers at 3,000 each, I'm going to die. Not if you're fighting alongside others, not if we coordinate, use strategy, make them work for every kill. Goku pulled up tactical plans. I'm not asking you to solo Frieza Force, I'm asking you to be part of Earth's defense. And the other fighters? Tien, Chiaotzu, Yamcha, you planning to recruit them too? Already working on it, but you're the key. You're the legend that other fighters respect. If Master Roshi says Earth needs defending, people listen. Roshi was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled, not the lecherous grin, but something genuine and a little sad. All right, I'm in. Let's show these space bastards that Earth isn't as primitive as they think. Over the next 3 days, Goku and Salipa assembled Earth's defense force. It was smaller than he'd hoped, larger than he'd feared. Master Roshi, power level 850, full power. Grandpa Gohan, power level 320. Tien Shinhan, power level 290, young but talented. Chiaotzu, power level 180, psychic abilities more valuable than raw power. Yamcha, power level 250. Launch, power level 160, blonde, 15, blue. 6 humans. Plus Goku at 12,000. Plus 15 Cell Alpha warriors ranging from 4,000 to 7,000. 22 defenders total, combined power of roughly 155,000. Against 20 Frieza Force soldiers plus Zarbon, combined power of 83,000. Numbers looked good, but numbers lied. Zarbon alone at 23,000 could probably handle most of Earth's defenders simultaneously, and that was before he transformed. Goku remembered from his first life that Zarbon had a monstrous form that multiplied his power significantly. This was going to be brutal. Everyone clear on the plan? Goku asked. They were gathered in Cell Alpha's command center, humans and Saiyans together for the first time in history, preparing to defend Earth from an alien invasion. We let them land, Tien recited, show ourselves as a unified defense force, humans and Saiyans together. Demonstrate enough power that they know we're a threat, but not so much that they call for backup immediately. And if they attack anyway? Yamcha asked, then we fight smart. Coordinated strikes, target their weaker soldiers first, use terrain and tactics to offset their power advantage. Goku pulled up the landing zone they'd prepared, a canyon with good sight lines and multiple fallback positions. Cell Alpha provides heavy firepower, humans provide unpredictability and technique. Zarbon is the key target. If we can take him down, the rest will retreat. And if we can't, then we adapt. Fall back to prepared positions, buy time, make them work for every inch. Show them Earth is more trouble than it's worth. Goku looked around at the assembled defenders. I'm not going to lie, some of us might not survive this, but if we succeed, if we make Frieza Force think Earth is defended by something dangerous, we buy time. Years, maybe. Enough to get stronger, prepare properly. Then let's make it count, Roshi said. I didn't live 300 years just to die to space bastards without putting up a fight. Landing zone, strike team arrival. Zarbon's ship descended through Earth's atmosphere with the casual arrogance of people who knew they were the apex predators. His scouter was already scanning, cataloging power levels, analyzing threats. Interesting, he murmured. Multiple high-power signatures. Not just Saiyans, there are indigenous life forms reading between 250 and 850. This primitive world has defenders? Should we abort? One of his soldiers asked nervously. Absolutely not. Lord Frieza wants confirmation of Saiyan survivors. We're here to provide that. Zarbon's ship landed in the canyon, exactly where the defenders had intended. Deploy, combat formation, kill anything that resists. 20 Frieza Force soldiers emerged, weapons ready, scouters scanning. And waiting for them, standing in a unified line across the canyon floor, were the defenders of Earth, humans and Saiyans, together. Well, Zarbon said, smiling his predator's smile, this should be entertaining. Goku stepped forward, his small 4-year-old body somehow commanding attention anyway. Commander Zarbon, we know why you're here. We know what Frieza wants, and we're telling you now, Earth is under protection. Leave peacefully and report that this world isn't worth Frieza's attention. Or stay and learn why that's a mistake. Zarbon laughed. A child giving me orders? How delightful. His scouter beeped, reading Goku's power level. 12,000? Impressive for your age, but hardly threatening to me. I have 23,000, and I haven't even transformed yet. Then let me make this simple. Goku's aura flared golden white, power spiking as he pushed his ki to maximum. You have 20 soldiers at average 3,500 each, plus yourself at 23,000. Total, 93,000. We have 22 defenders with combined power exceeding 155,000. You're outmatched. Numbers mean nothing to quality. 20 elite Frieza Force soldiers are worth 100 primitive defenders. Then let's test that theory. Goku raised one hand, and behind him, every defender powered up simultaneously. The combined ki pressure was enormous, washing over Zarbon's forces like a physical wave. For the first time, Zarbon looked uncertain. Last chance, Goku said quietly. Leave. Report that Earth is defended by an alliance too strong to eliminate without significant force. Tell Frieza this planet isn't worth the resources. Or we make sure none of you survive to report anything. Zarbon's smile returned, sharp and dangerous. You just made a fatal error, child. Threatening Frieza Force means we respond with overwhelming force. But first, we'll make an example of you. He transformed, his beautiful form shifting into something monstrous, power levels spiking from 23,000 to 46,000 in seconds. Muscles bulged, his features became bestial, and his aura turned dark purple. Now, Zarbon growled, let's see how long your alliance lasts against real power. The battle for Earth began.